Here we go.
So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it. Sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at, including BS.
Well, hello there, you amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Friday. Frisky Friday. The next best thing to the midweek hump. And I hope you've all had a good week. You're looking amazing, so I'm guessing you have had a good week. Better than mine. Anyway, look. This video here is an in retrospect video. You've just listened to the legend that is Denzel Washington. He's talking about the culture of news. He speaks about too much information. He speaks about how the fact that if you don't read newspaper, you're uninformed. But if you do, you're misinformed. And that can be said about a lot of the channels around true crime. And I have been part of this. I have been part of the toxicity that is the true crime niche. And I have failed. I have failed in terms of making it clear what I am about, what this channel is about. And I am hoping in this video to clarify it, to put absolute clarity to things. We will talk about things. As things come out, we will speak about them. We will see, again, and I've said this before, we'll speak about the valid nature of them. Is there validity in the claims, or are they not? But I have to do better in terms of why I'm speaking about something. Am I speaking about it because I truly believe that there is credence in it, or am I speaking about it because it's out there and people are being taken in by it? I have to be quicker in deciding what side of the fence I sit on. You can sit in the middle, you can straddle the fence, but it seems that people struggle with that. They struggle to understand the straddling of the fence. And they feel that just because you're talking about something, you are offering it credence, you are giving it legs, and maybe that's the point. What we do by straddling the fence and talking about things, we do offer certain things credence that don't deserve it. They don't deserve a place. And like Denzel says, there are situations where people are driven by a certain thing, and that may be the search, the hunt for truth and justice. But that's not everybody. Some people are in it for the money. They are there to be driven by dollar signs, pound signs. And they will go where the most money lies. And it's in doing so, doing this hunt for money, that you're not straddling the fence anymore. You are going down a real dark path in terms of failing to appreciate and understand what your audience does in that same journey, because they're not in it for the money. They're not, because they don't get money from it. You, the content creator, you get money from it. What they get from it, for the best part is, or for the most part, should I say, not best, probably worst part, but the most part, they get affirmation. Because if they don't trust what you're saying, they won't listen to you. If they're bored by what you're saying, they won't listen to you. But if you are saying things that in their minds make sense, then they hang on to every single word. And why you're doing it is no longer important. And in the J Slater case, in retrospect, that is what's happened. We, the content creators, me included, have meant that people have hung on to the things we've said, whether that's been misinterpreted, whether that's been misconstrued by us. But people have hung on to it. People have believed that what we have said and what we have spoken about, we have done so because we are offering it credence. And if they have only seen part of the story and they have relied and depended upon you to be the provider of that information, then you have been misleading. I have been misleading. And we must do better. I must do better. And for that, all I can do is apologize. You know, I'll lose people because of this video. But that's okay, because that's what we deserve. We deserve to lose people who have had trust in us. We also equally deserve to lose the people who are not good for the overarching narrative of the niche. If there are people that they're not interested in truth and justice, they are just interested in being entertained, then this isn't a place to solely be entertained. We have to put on our channels that they are for entertainment purposes, because we are not professional journalists. We are not investigative journalists in terms of, like some people are. There are some people who are fantastic. There are some creators who put a lot of work into and have teams that do their due diligence, and they can report absolute fact. The downside is it's whether the audience trusts them. And the downside is people trust certain people to do that job, and that's not the job they're doing. It's the aforementioned there as a content creator, their hunt for money, and that's being amalgamated with someone else's hunt for what they believe is the truth. In the J Slater case, we saw a young man who died. He lost his life. And because of the strange situations around it, like Ayub Qasim was a convicted drug trafficker. That sparked a fire. Then you had other people, Mark Williams Thomas. Mark Williams Thomas was the propagator of a disaster, because people wrongfully trusted this guy. Because he'd had the history he'd been involved and he'd marketed himself in the manner that he had been marketed, people trusted him. People trusted that what he was saying was true. And that was the beginning of a propagation of a disaster. And then off of the back end of that, when stories started to subside, you then had people who didn't want the case to die off. So they themselves start to propagate things from what is out there, and they make it worse. When in reality, the story underlying was a boring story. Now, don't get me wrong, there are elements to the J Slater story that remain unanswered at this time. But the vast majority of the questions that remain unanswered because they're being connected and attached to things that don't belong in the story. And we, as content creators, have assisted in the propagation of that. And like I say, we have to get better. We can't just forget that we are talking about real people's lives. Ask questions, query stuff, but don't go down the route of trying to push things that are fake, that are false. And you know that they are fake, you know that they are false. You know, many people have felt that I had done a 180 in the J Slater case, and I have to go over it again because I feel that this is the issue, and that is that people don't fully listen. And we have to appreciate and understand that people don't fully listen. And when people don't fully listen, how can the information that you talk about be misconstrued? That is down to me, that is down to the other content creators to appreciate that not everybody will listen to everything you say. So what they do listen to, how can that sit with them? How will that sit with them, and what will go on from there? And the reality is we have to do better. We have to be clearer in what we give out as information. We have to be more steadfast in how we deal with the content that we dish out. You know, you don't dish out a spicy meal and tell someone that it's mild. If you're dishing out a spicy dish, tell the fucking people who are going to eat it that it's spicy so they don't get shocked by it. Another fantastic analogy for you. But like I say, in retrospect, I can fully appreciate that why people feel that I'd done a 180. And that is because I had spoken about the multiple things and stories that had come out around the J Slater case. And perhaps they hadn't fully been listening to other parts of what I had said. Perhaps people hadn't been I know that people hadn't been from this channel from the beginning, so they haven't learned about the channel, they hadn't understood what I do on this channel. But that's not down to them to, that's for me to appreciate why or how people would perceive me if they are new to the channel. Every video that you do should be treated in a way that for some people that may be the first video that they ever watch. So be clear, clarify, provide clarity, don't be in the grey. And again, all I can do is apologise for the failings that I have had on this platform, because it's clear in the disaster of, and don't get me wrong, this isn't the only disaster that we've had around the true crime niche, but the J Slater case has been a catastrophic one, and it is continuing every single day. And, you know, I can't speak about that. Like, people turn around and say, why are you doing another J Slater video? I'm doing it because I know the damage that I have caused to it. I know that I have been part of it, and I feel that I need to try and put it right. I feel that I need to try to rein in some of what is being said off the back end of the stories that we helped to propagate. And I can't just leave it at that. But what I will not do is go back over and give more legs to the stories that I now know are not right. It's like, I'll give you one last example. It's like the Wax Unfiltered video, and I love Wax. I think he's a great guy. For what he does, he's fantastic at it. But it's like the video that I covered yesterday, and that is with respect of this Lucy. He packaged it in a way that meant that the community would feel that that's what it was. It was a video of a call between this individual and Lucy. Now, for people who know and understand that Wax is a reaction channel, he's reactivity, he is not investigative journalism, you know, they would take that as gospel. And Wax himself in that video, he turns around and says, I can't get, it sounds like Lucy, but I'm not 100% sure, not without doing a comparison side by side. But Wax had not done his due diligence. Like I had not done my due diligence in talking about certain things. Now, I didn't go down some of the rabbit holes, but I spoke about it enough. I spoke about it enough for people to feel that I was a creator who they deemed as credible, and I was offering these things legs. And that's on me. And I will suffer the consequences of that. But for that, I'm sorry. I'll catch you all tomorrow.